For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set the sample rates for portfolios. So this video is for the attention of the IQA or lead IQA in your centre or college. So logging in. Now, the sample configuration tool, as it's named, can be found by clicking on the Tools option there, and you'll see at the bottom, if you have access, it has Centre Configuration. Just click on this, and you'll see this list of actions. Now, this is what drives the whole sampling mechanism in Skillsfile. So you can go and set, based on your centre risk strategy, the days between interim samples, which can be changed there by clicking Edit and changing it, and the same for the final sample, the verification, how far back you want it to look for what needs to be sampled on the interim and on the final, and the sample internal verification task is due. So this is how much notice you want to be given. So this is set, for example, for interim 7 days notice beforehand. So it's presented to the IQA 7 days beforehand, and on the final it's set to 10. And there, as you see, it has the edit button where you can change it if you wanted to. And again, any changes made in here you would need to reflect in your centre risk strategy. Now, the sampling percentage is based across the whole centre. For actual individual assessors, where you might have someone new and you want to set their sample rate higher, I'll show that shortly. But in here, you would set it for the whole centre. So here it's set to sample 80% of the portfolios at the centre. And these two sections here just tell you the last time the system ran a check for interims and finals. You'll also see there's a partial evidence percentage, and that's set to 25. The reason that was introduced was, as shown in other videos, there are progression bars for each unit as well as the overall qualification. So that shows the percentage of requirements completed for that qualification. Now, it never used to pick up where partial had been ticked as opposed to full. So if you had a piece of evidence and the assessor is going through and making a judgment assessment as to whether the evidence is fully or partially sufficient, it only recorded fully. And this was fed back to us by a number of centres that was saying learners could be uploading evidence. A lot of it was partial, therefore the progression bar didn't grow much. So a decision was made to factor in a partial evidence percentage option, and you set this. Now, we would advise you don't set this too high, because otherwise it will set a false presentation of how much has been completed. So if a piece of evidence has been uploaded and all of it was marked as partial, you've given this a weighting of, say, 75%, that could give a false impression of how much work had been completed. So although you can set this to your own, again, you'd need to reflect in your centre risk strategy why that was the case, and say it can be edited through here. And I'll just click cancel as I want to leave that at 25%. You'll also notice there is an option, candidate profiling enabled, and it's switched to no. This was set in the early days of the system where you had a profiling tool. But this is a default setting as it's switched to no, as we had a number of centres saying they prefer to use their own profiling tool. So if you wanted to enable this, you would need to click edit and set it to yes, although we would suggest that you use an internal one that fits with your centre. And if it's a paper document, you can always scan it in or photograph it and upload it in the learner's portfolio under the Documents tab. not evidence, if you're only going to be saving it to link to the learner. Now, if you wanted to set a sampling percentage for the actual assessor, so you've got the overall centre is set for 80%, but you could go to an actual assessor and under your settings for assessors, you would click into their entry, as I say, going by the address book, scroll down, and you'll notice there is another sample rate. So your overall centre has a sample rate, and then you can individually set it. So this particular assessor is set to 100%, so therefore everything he does will be presented for verification. So this is where you would set for the individual assessor, and say, as in this demonstration version of Skillsfile, we're treating this as a new assessor, therefore it's set to 100. If I wanted to change it at a later date, I can just override that. Now, you may also have a situation where you've got a new qualification at your centre and you actually want to set that. As it's a new one, you want to set the percentage sampling for that qualification as well. You can actually go into the qualification and reset the percentage here. So these will set to 100 as a demonstration. But if you feel this is a unit that doesn't need 100% sampling, you can actually go and lower it down, or it might be you actually want to increase it if you've set them at lower rates. So you can set the sample rate for your centre in the centre configuration tool, which is via the option there, which is through the admin, or you can actually go through the address book, go into an individual assessor, and you might wish to say set his setting at a different percentage to others, which to say is done there in their address book entry, and you can also go into qualifications and reset that if you are given permissions to do so. Okay, I hope this video has been of use. Thank you very much. Bye.